At Culinist, we believe that there is a better way to do groceries and also a better way to cook. We deliver all of the ingredients necessary to cook healthy and interesting meals at home in around 30 minutes. Every week on our website, culinist.ca, we put up 6 recipes from which our members choose to receive between 6 and 16 portions. We deliver those recipes in packaging such as you see here in the exact amount so that there's no waste, and you don't need to buy a bunch of cilantro if you only need a couple grams or a couple stems of cilantro. All these recipes are designed to be healthy and fun and are delivered for around $9 a person. Our clients range from people that have never been in a grocery store before to people that go to the market every day, and it's really fantastic. As Pino mentioned, my business partners and I were finance guys, so we were always chasing big stocks and going to work on Wall Street and Bay Street in Toronto and stuff like that. A lot of that left a big kind of hole in our personal lives. We were working 80 hours a week and never had time to do the things that we really loved, which was talk about food, eat food, drink food, whatever it was. So basically what we would do would be we'd work till 2 o'clock in the morning every day, and then on Fridays we'd probably get out early around 9 o'clock, and at 9 we would run around the city to go find all the ingredients to cook a recipe, and that was what we kind of looked forward to all week. Then once we cooked the recipes, enjoyed, had some wine, whatever, all of those ingredients would stay in our fridge until the next Friday and would just end up smelling, and our roommates would yell at us and all the fun stuff that goes along with it. So once we left, we were working at both of us at RBC. Once we left RBC, we decided that we wanted to find a business that we really loved and wanted to invest in. A bunch of different industries we looked at. We ended up looking at groceries because our passion for food. We looked far and wide, US and Canada, and didn't find anything that really suited what we wanted. So we kind of sat down and said, what are the problems that we had with our regular grocery delivery and our experience in cooking at home? Similar things came up, buying food, running around the city, grocery delivery in Montreal, if you've ever had it, is kind of non-existent or laughable if you can put it that way. So we came across the Culinist idea and borrowed a lot of it from different parts of different companies in Europe and in the US, and kind of made it our own with the Canadian twist. So one of the things that we were asked to kind of touch on is the importance of content in your business to acquire new customers. The big aha moment for us when creating Culinist was we're told our whole life not to accept food from strangers. You're told not to take candy, not to go to the ice cream truck, all that stuff. Like, we don't even have a physical location. That's how stranger we are, right? So for us, it's imperative that we have something that helps people build credibility in their minds about us and about the community, that we're a legit operation. We're not kind of operating in some random corner of the world and putting stuff together with no safety precautions. Like, we have a lot of work to do to come from a finance background to start a food company that's e-commerce and doesn't have anybody walking by it every day and saying, that's the Culinist store, and look how clean it is, or look how well lit it is, or anything like that. So content is super, super important to us, and I think it's important to a lot of businesses. When I talk about content, what I mean is basically using marketing communication. It could be blog, social media, video, pictures, how-to, infographics. You see it all the time. Using communication such as that to build brand loyalty and to acquire customers, but not to sell them. You're not asking them to buy something. So we do it through a couple different ways, which I'll get into. The first thing that we decided when we realized that we wanted to use content to build our credibility was we needed to build an audience. And building an audience because we're an e-commerce business is difficult. We're one of the billion-plus websites on the internet, so we have to actually get some traffic. We decided that we wanted to use email marketing and blog posts as our main capture. So we put a email sign-up form. Basically, you create a free membership when you get to our website to access the recipes. We put a lot of effort into the recipes, so people feel like it's a give and take, and they're happy to give their email for that. So here I'm just going to switch around. So in terms of what we communicate, we have thousands of people's emails, and they trust us with these emails, so we can't spam them. We don't want to consistently be selling them either. So this is where the content comes in. What we talk about is, these are 4 of the main categories on our blog that we talk about. One is chef's knife, so kind of the stuff that you have at home already, but you want to be, you might not know best to use it or best to upkeep it, so how to hone it, how to sharpen it, what to look for, how to hold it, all these things. We talk about that type of stuff, which, as I said, some of our clients never walked into a grocery store before, so they're coming from pretty far down. We do behind the scenes, so opening up the Komodo to show kind of what we do and where it all comes from and how it all gets put together. We do kitchen essentials, which is meant to make people feel like you don't need to spend thousands of dollars on a fancy sous vide machine to be a really good cook. You can spend $10 on a zester, and that's going to make you seem like a professional. And the last thing that we try and do and incorporate in our business is interesting ingredients. So kohlrabi is something that I'm sure everyone has seen either directly or out of the corner of their eye when they're at a grocery store, but they have no idea what it tastes like, where it comes from, how to use it, how long it stays for. So those are the type of things that we try and communicate to people with the blog and with the emails. Go back here. So then the other thing we do, obviously, this one's a little bit more mainstream. Everyone knows the power of social media. So Facebook, Instagram, we use contests, we use videos. We just gave away 2 barbecues to our members for posting barbecue-related pictures. So those type of things really engage people and really get people talking. The other thing is Pinterest for recipe discovery. A lot of our clients are 30 to 50-year-old ladies who love to go on Pinterest and look for recipes. They find our recipes, and it creates a community in which it gets shared, and a lot of goodwill gets created there too. And the last one that we're focused on now that we're really excited about is YouTube unboxing, showing people exactly what the experience is like start to finish, and how-to videos to help educate and make everyone feel much more comfortable in the kitchen. So these are a couple examples of people that we admire the way that they've done things, and I welcome all of you to check it out on your own time. Using great content strategies, all these companies have become really world-class. So Mint and Shopify both use very detailed blog posts to help build credibility. Mint is a personal finance company. Shopify does e-commerce, which I'll talk about a little bit later. Frank and Oak, Montreal guys, they're doing some great stuff around the suppliers that they work with, and it's really, really cool to see kind of the behind the scenes of how their suppliers come together. Plated is a similar business to ours in the US, and they do a lot of video. So it's really interesting to see their video strategy, bespoke posts as well. So it's not only important to have the content and to distribute it, but it has to be engaging. If it's not engaging, you're kind of just going into no man's land. So for us, the stuff that we care about and we're most proud of, given that we focus a lot on blog posts and emails, we focus a lot on our MailChimp numbers. So MailChimp numbers include our open rates, our click-throughs, how many people, how much time they spend reading the blogs. And what we've seen is a good blog post gets little engagement, and we learn from that. And the bad blog posts, little engagement. The good blog posts get amazing engagement, and we're at 10 times the industry average. And we've been able to tailor what we talk about because of those engagement numbers. The same thing, likes, shares, comments, Facebook, all that stuff. It's straight up in the open, so you can easily see what people are doing, how they're interacting with the brand, all that stuff. And it's another way that we think of when we're partnering with other companies to write about us or to share branding ideas. We look at their engagement levels, not just their followers, but their engagement levels. So if you have 100,000 followers, but you put up a picture or video and there's only one person that mentions, wow, nice video, that's not that great. Like, people don't really care about that video. So that's one of the things that we think about. And YouTube, obviously, the same stuff. So the other thing that we were asked to talk about, I think it's important because I guess we're probably the youngest company here. We've been around for about 6 months now. Things are going really well, but we're still very, very, very new. So the challenges and opportunities of financing and growing, you never have the experience necessary. You're never going to get a consensus that you should start a business. I think Anna kind of pointed that out in the closing remarks. Like, no one is going to tell you it's the right time to do it, and you're the only one that can make that decision. So with that in mind, this was our first website. So do you want to order food off of this website? So we sell a weekly subscription. So every week, members were willing to go and put their first name, their last name, their phone number, their email, and then in a Google form, on a drop-down, they would input which meals they wanted. This cost nothing to set up. We paired this with our Shopify platform, so we had pictures, and it was just hyperlinked. But this is kind of proof that you don't need $20,000 to hire a design team to build yourself a website. We had 50 people using this, giving us money every week, sending food to them. Like, that's how you should think about every problem. We don't use this anymore. In terms of the financing, the challenges and opportunities, I think money is obviously the number one reason that people always talk about. If I had money, if I needed money, all I need is money. I think it's the wrong attitude to have. You've got to think about how can I get the money, or how much do I actually need? There's ways to get around it. So the challenge that we have, and they're the same, I think they're similar for everyone else. Personal guarantees, obviously when you're starting a business, you're 100% linked to the company. Managing cash flow. If you're starting off, we have a volume business, so basically the higher volumes, the better our pricing, and the better our pricing we can translate to our customers, and the better margins that we can get internally. So that's been a huge challenge. And then financing growth. We feel like we've built an amazing product that people are really happy to share with their friends and family. We have a ton of growth initiatives on the back burner right now because it's just it's going to be too much money or too much resources to put immediately. But that's a big challenge. It's a good challenge that we have, but one of the main ones that we're thinking of now. The lean startup is just that mentality in terms of the opportunities. The lean startup is the mentality that I've been talking about. Crowdfunding and pre-selling product has been something that's been very popular recently. So the example of Pebble is interesting. They made one of the first smartwatches, and they ran a Kickstarter campaign. They sold, with a prototype and a website, $1 million worth of product in 24 hours, and then have since sold another $30 million. I think it's been in the last 12 months. So talk about thinking out of the box. They had an idea, they drew up a sketch, they marketed it well, they sold $1 million, and then they built the plant after. So we always try and keep fixed costs low, and then paying people over time. Not obviously negotiated up front. You don't want to have bad supplier relationships, but paying people over time if they believe in what you're doing, you can always work around the necessary adjustments to make it work. And then everybody knows about the financing markets now. So if you have an idea that's really taking off, I think people will be willing to put money into it. And it's something to consider. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the challenges and opportunities of growing. I think out of all of these things, the biggest aha and the most important for us is on the third point, gather client feedback. I think what we realized was not to listen. Don't listen to the problem or the solution that your clients are giving you feedback on, but think about it in a more holistic sense. And I give you an example. For us, we deliver the food in a refrigerated package with a liner, a box, and ice packs. No one is used to getting groceries in that format. So immediately people say, wow, that's a lot of stuff. People complain, they say, okay, well, it's a lot of stuff. I feel like I'm throwing out a ton of stuff, throwing out a ton of stuff. What you should really do is set up fridges that I can go and pick up stuff around the city. So there's the problem, there's the solution. We got feedback from 10 or 15 people, exactly the same thing. It sounds obvious, we should do that. What we did, and it wasn't immediate, but what we did was we found totally recyclable suppliers for all of the ice packs, the boxes, obviously cardboard, and the liners. We haven't heard any complaints since, and people are really, really excited to get their food every week. So we took what the problem they had, but we didn't take the solution they had, and we thought about it differently. So in terms of the opportunities, some other great examples. I think Airbnb is a fantastic example. They struggled for a long time to make sales, and what they ended up doing was being super creative and just emailing everybody who listed their apartment for rent on Craigslist. They would email them and say, you can make more money with us. Come and list on our thing. You're going to get professional photos, and we'll get it put up. That was probably the most important thing that Airbnb did to really gain traction. The other thing that they did was totally unrelated to their business that helped them finance themselves while they were kind of struggling, is they sold boxes of cereal at conferences to promote the presidential race. So there was like the GOP convention in Florida, and they went and they sold cereal boxes to see who was going to win the GOP race. And so talk about, like, they're not renting people's apartments, they're selling cereal boxes to help pay for the business. So it's pretty creative thinking.
When you presented your first website, it sounded like it didn't work because it didn't look right, or it just didn't have that appeal, but it seems like it did. So I'm just curious to know, when was the moment where you felt like you had to change websites and become, change your image or your online presence?
It's a great question. I think for us, the first website was a piecing together of off-the-shelf products. So it was Google Form for order processing, it was Shopify for front end for the actual site and payment processing, and then we have a subscription business model. People order from us weekly. So then there was another add-on to that, and we got to a point where we thought that we've proven the concept that people are willing to order this type of service. We changed around the product a ton in the first couple of weeks. Like, we were selling smoothies in the morning and doing breakfasts and lunches, and then we could do small portions, big portions. We changed around a lot of different things at the same time. And once we kind of landed on, okay, we're going to sell this many portions, it's going to be these style of recipes, now let's go share it with the world. It was kind of at that apex that we decided to hire someone on our team to build out the website, because there's a lot of customization in the back end. Like, we couldn't find a very easy solution, so we had to go and build it.